Yo, good morning. Guido coming at you with a coffee talk. No Pilgrim this week, unfortunately. He is apparently doing a hostile takeover with his motorcycle club of the, what's the flower called? Whatever that flower is. It was a funnier joke when I remember the flower. It'll come to me in a minute. Morning Gator, Stickler, O'Brute, Jimmy, Wayne, Grendel, Lavender. There it is, the Lavender Farm, a hostile takeover. Yeah, they have their motorcycle weekend, so they're all riding their bikes, their bicycles, to wherever it is that they're going, and do whatever it is motorcycle clubs do, all that good stuff. Good morning, everybody. Well, good news is we have some drama. We have some good drama. We'll get to that later. But Wargaming's up to its usual shenanigans, and as is Reddit and the mob and the whole, what would we say, stupidity that revolves around the boxes. All that good stuff. Sunday Fun Day. Unless you're a CC, that was there. You go. Wayne has foreshadowed the drama. Yeah, we'll get to that. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's people being dumb. It's more people being dumb. It's pretty funny. Gretel is very upset. Yes. Yeah. All right. I think the drama piece aside, the reactions are more interesting to me than the actual drama. I find that part of it to be hilarious, actually, and interesting at the same time. The way it goes down, and then the counter reactions by especially the Reddit sphere, which is just a conglomeration of scum and villainy. Hilarious reactions. Just the whole thing is people are really, really upset. I was a trendsetter, yes. Yeah, Gunners. I did know who he was. We've talked about it in the past on occasion, especially when it came to rigging. I talked about it relatively extensively back in the day when we were all up in arms and had our pitchforks about rigging in the game, because he had done that kind of thing. Oh, good one. Mocha's decided somebody needs to be barked at. I don't think so, Jimmy, but maybe. I don't remember that. Did he do that? I don't know. That was the guy who got drunk, right? He wasn't a CC. That was Joe something, wasn't it? Or was that a different incident? Remember that guy got like bloodied himself or whatever on stream? There's actually been a couple CCs along the way, people that became CCs and then pretty quickly did something stupid and got kicked out. Yeah, he is a young kid, relatively anyway. Yeah, I would say in his 20s now. He was in his teens when all that. He might even be closing in on 30, to be honest with you. He looks young for sure. He might be mid to late 20s, because I think he was a teen when he did this, and this was probably 10 years ago when he was doing all the rigging stuff, and he was a teenager. Fosh quit before they got him. Yeah. Yep. All right, so what's going on, fellas? Channel news, not a whole lot to report. I am working on, let's see if I can get here. I am working on couple tanks. I will say this, my recent gaming has been crazy as far as getting lit on fire. And I don't think I have all the fires, but I have a folder where I put my Miserable Monday stuff if I'm going to do one. And right now it has 7 games where I get lit on fire. And that's in the last about week, which is more fires than I remember in a really long time. I used to run an automatic fire extinguisher pretty much on everything and no food, because I hated being lit on fire so much. And that kind of tamped it down pretty well. You still get lit on fire. Well, you don't get lit on fire as much because it reduces the chance. But When you do, it automatically kicks off and decreases it. Well, now I run food on most everything. And for whatever reason, in the last week, I have been lit on fire a lot. So that's crazy. And then it's just the games, man. It seems like you're either being romple stomped or you're doing the romple stomping. I find so few competitive games. And when it is a competitive game, if it's going to be thrown away, it is nearly always people pushing into the campers and not repositioning. It's crazy. It is crazy. I can just see it now. You know, you see it happening, and every now and again, it doesn't. Maybe the push works bizarrely, but generally, I would say you can watch the match progress, and at certain points, you can go, well, if we do this, we're losing, or if we do this, we're winning, and that's more or less what happens. Crazy. Bring hot dogs and marshmallows to roast, yeah. Really, Zemke? Because every time I think something like that, it's always all right. That's in your head, and generally that's true. But I just feel like I'm getting lit on fire constantly. It's crazy, and I don't want to run a damn fire extinguisher because the food is so valuable. Even an Equalize, yeah. I'm also getting nailed directly by Artie a lot as well. But we'll get to that when I get I think I'm going to do a miserable Monday and put all those in there because I have a really long list and it's a pretty miserable one. Getting directly hit by Artie, getting lit on fire in critical moments, the crazy bounces or misses. Yesterday, I was running this thing, WZ120 GFT, which is some kind of reward. It's kind of a weird tank. It looks like an assault TD, but it's not really. It doesn't really have very good armor. It's only 150 millimeters, and it's okay slope, but it's decently fast and has a punchy gun at 560, I think, alpha. But I had a Progetto coming around, so I set up. The Progetto came around, I fired, I bounced the Progetto, which was crap. So then I pull back, and I only had enough hit points to take 2 hits from him because he's an autoloader, loader, reloader. I back out and then get directly nailed by Artie and taken out of the game. It's awesome. Probably Kedge's fault, 100%. The other difficult part is when I just finished a couple 3 or so tanks that have been playing for a while for 100 Battle Challenge, and I find that when I switch over to new tanks, it does take me a while to get up to speed on that tank. So this one, the IS-2 I actually like this tank, but I'm only running a 53% win rate out of, I don't know how many hit games now, 80? 85. So I'm closing in on finishing, and I hope I have a strong finish and bring that win rate up a little bit. I don't feel like the win rate actually is as good as it should be, although my damage is low, so maybe it's about where it should be. Unfortunately, I like the tank. For some reason, I'm getting in a lot of really bad situations with it. This thing, I'm running a little better win rate. This is a weird one. We've done a couple videos on it lately. 400 alpha gun. It's got a heavy gun on it, basically. It's 13 and a half seconds, maybe closer to 14 seconds for a reload, and it hits for 400, but it's on a medium chassis, so almost no armor on this thing. Even the turret's not that great. The turret is only 85, so it gets shredded by everything, to include Artie, and it's so big. Artie has an easy time hitting it, relatively anyway. But I like this. It's kind of good. That's not good. I like it. Let's say I like it. It's not actually very good, but I do like it. But now I'm playing those two. I'm playing a lot of this thing. This thing, I was cruising along really nicely on it. It's the tier 9 reward for Battle Pass now, or one of them. I was in the 60s initially, and then I went all the way down to like 42, and then I've clawed my way back to 51% in this thing. And then this silly thing is better than it should be, I think. The 6x6. It's a wheelie, but it's not EBR wheelie. It's not quite as, how would you put it? It's not quite as trying to think of a word, but I can't come up with it. Bouncy, maybe? It doesn't seem, because the wheels aren't as big compared to its hull, it doesn't seem to get the weird wheel bounces as much as, say, the EBR does, because the EBR wheels are so big compared to its hull and it sits much lower. So I feel like you get hit on this one more reliably, unfortunately, by the bad guys. So it's not as evasive, I guess, as the EBR can be. Obnoxious? Yeah, there you go. I think, well, the small guns are all you can have, right? It's the 100 millimeters. You like the 85s? Or you're just saying you liked it that they were the 100 millimeters? It is not as wheelie. That's good. That's a good way to put it, Grendel. Not quite as wheelie as the rest of the wheelies. That's true. Kind of like the Lynx. The Lynx is not quite as wheelie as the FL10, FL10, 11, or whatever it is. Yeah, it is interesting that this tank doesn't have any of the 390 alpha thing, but 300 is pretty good, and the double shot is useful at times. So we're doing that guy. We're doing these two light tanks. We're chucking in the WZ-111A and the can opener. Can opener I'm struggling with. I'm only sitting at 44%. Not too many battles. 20, 30, 40, 16. Okay. Decent DPG. I'll figure it out. We'll get there with that. I like the gun depression. It hits pretty hard. Each one is a 420 damage gun, and you can do the double shot. So it's got its strengths. I'm also slowly working with a Toro. We're at 55% on that, maybe 50 battles or less, 42. So we're cruising along on that one as well. So I've got quite a few tanks that I'm now doing, and they're all relatively new to what I've been doing before. It always takes me a little while to get in the groove with them. First gun was fun with the quick reload, yeah. This one's not bad. What is it, 7 seconds as long as the other one's loaded? Yeah, 7.63. So you're pretty much always in, I guess it's always 7.63, right? You're always in the game. It's always going to be loading one of the guns. Longbow at large. Yes, it is annoying. Yep, and I have mine mech'd to a mouse button, so I have to, it's a different button than I usually use, and I find that holding that button on the mouse, and it's not the fire button I'm using a different button, because if you use the fire button, the left mouse, there's a weird delay, an extra delay situation in your firing. That might be what you're talking about, Longbow. I don't know if you know that, and I don't remember exactly the mechanic, but there is a weird additional delay for some reason. If you click and hold, if you're using the left button held down to shoot your double barrels, there's another extra odd delay that's not supposed to really be there. So I put it on a different button on the mouse. I don't remember the details. Somebody might be able to chuck it down there in there. Yeah, take a look at it. I don't remember exactly what it was, but maybe somebody can throw it in the chat who remembers or knows. But my understanding is you need to mech it to a different button than your left hold down button, and it will work. It works better. I don't remember why. Talk to Pete about getting a day off so you can shoot. That's right. Could you imagine that? That'd be the exact last thing that he would want. Yeah, some people do the wheel. My problem with it is it's a different. You know, you're trying to be careful with the mouse and you're aiming, and now I'm holding down another button, and then I try to move it. I just have a little bit of trouble in there. Yeah, everyone uses the wheel button. That's interesting. I feel like I would also inadvertently zoom though. I don't know. There you go, Kefik. That sounds right. It's trying to figure out if you want a single shot and not a double, and that adds another extra little delay into it. So most people will use a different button on your mouse somewhere, or a keyboard, however you want to roll with it. I mean, you could put X on it, I guess. The wheel as well. I might try that. Maybe I'll try the wheel. I don't know. I feel like I might inadvertently zoom though at the same time. But of course, you were saying you hold down and you can zoom, so there is that part. I do that, Cliffy. That's what mine is. It's a side button. Zemke doesn't play double barrel tanks. It's a good plan. It's a good plan. So anyway, that's where we are with the Hunter Battle Challenge stuff, cruising along. I do have on Monday the Tier 8 Tier 9. No, Tier 8. I did the Tier 9 video, but tomorrow is the Tier 8 least played on NA video. Those have been fun to make. I'm trying to remember I'm not going to tell you what tank it is, but I can't. I think I actually guessed this one, and all of a sudden I can't remember which one it was. Whatever. So, heck of a thing getting old, fellas. Heck of a thing. I haven't played a whole bunch of other games. I did play a game called Ground of Aces, which is like this World War II base building airplane simulation thing, which I thought it's a beta, or not beta, demo. It's a demo on Steam. Kind of interesting. Played that. Played one called Dust. That's a apocalypse build. You have a car and you go from city to city kind of thing, but it's a side scroller idea. That's a demo as well. That's kind of interesting. I don't fire a lot of doubles either, Grendel. Generally, I use those as kind of a intuition idea. Similar thought process to, I should use HE on this shot and then switch over to HE. Same idea. I look at it and go, this could be a good double barrel shot, as opposed to going out and thinking I'm just gonna force a double barrel situation. You use them as they come. Yesterday I spent most of the day cleaning the screen room, dragging everything off and power washing it all down, getting all the green gunk off of everything. That was my entire day yesterday, and then we grilled some brats, which was nice. You just drink doubles? It's just like the Russians. All right, well, let's see what Wargaming has for sale, shall we? Is it time to shill? Let's get out the Blue Light Special. Maybe I can become a CC again? No, probably not. Ain't happening. Let's see. What do we have? Not much, guys. There's a couple tanks for sale. Formerly. The Star Trek thing is up. I saw, Reddit is what Reddit is, but I will give them credit in a couple places here. They do make some good points on occasion. They're selling the skin for the AAT-60, but they're not selling the AAT-60. And the guy's like, dude, you're selling the skin, but not the tank. What's that? I wonder why the tank was not also up for sale. Oversight? On purpose? Hard to tell. But you can get all these various styles and crap. You can get the Spock is $12. Goodness gracious. $61 for the whole crew. Oh my gosh. That is that's a lot. $61 for the crew. It was in the nesting boxes? Yeah, so maybe they... Okay, well, I guess I can see that then. They know they just had people buy a bunch of them through the boxes, so now maybe they're looking for the 3D style. I guess that is a type of logic. No, they're not cheap with their IP. Do you think that has a lot to do with how much they have to send them? I bet it does. You're probably right. You're probably right. There's probably a significant amount of that has to go to the IP. That's pretty funny. Nothing special. Great question. What do you guys think? Dude, I would absolutely love to have a Shatner voiceover. Like an over-the-top Shatner voiceover. That would be amazing, actually. I know this guy's sort of patterned his inflection and the way he talked after it. Not exactly, but there was a little bit of that edge. But an actual over-the-top Shatner voiceover would be hilarious. We have been hit. That's right. Of course, we can't get Spock, right? Because isn't he deceased? I believe he's died. Actually, I think Uhura's died too, right? How many of the originals are left? I think Shatner's still kicking around, isn't he? Or have I missed? Maybe he's died along the way too. I think he's still around. That's it. That's kind of what I thought, Grindle. Yeah. Yep. Sulu, Chekhov, and Shatner. Sulu's a piece of work, actually, in real life. Interesting guy. And one red shirt guy lived. That's right. Oh man. So all those voiceovers would have to be. Well, I guess AI could probably do it pretty well. Be honest with you. AI could definitely do the voices. All right, so that crap's for sale. I think it's also maybe in the shop, in the client. Let me see here. I don't think you can get any of it for gold, though. Just quickly look at it. It doesn't look like it. No, it just shows up in the client, but it'll take you to the website to pay for it, so that doesn't help anybody. Yeah, the Tribbles. Tribbles, is that what you're saying? The Trouble with Tribbles? Featured... nothing. The Turkananov and the Type 63. What happened? Oh, for some reason it logged me out. I don't know why. That was weird. It decided to log me out while we're talking. All right, you dumb thing. Stop. Stop it. All right. Back to the shop. There we go. So the Basante's out there, $40. The Mutant that they promised they'd never sell, but of course that's not true. The Turkananov, which is a KV-4 version of some kind. I actually have that tank. I thought I didn't, but I do. Type 63, which is a decent heavy. It's okay. $44. Zemke. We're going to talk about that for sure. Yeah, I did see that. That's going to be the fun part of the coffee talk, man. Oh, he did another one? Oh, fantastic. Is he clarifying his clarification? He got eviscerated for that, man. Oh, really? The current Chekhov actor? Oh, no way. Jeez. Oh, man. That sucks. Wait, oh, did he get run over by his own car or something? Is that right? I vaguely remember some kind of report like that. That's, jeez. His own car. Great. What is going on with my webpage here? I've purchased all offers. Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, the young guy. We had my neighbor's brother actually passed away right 20, 30 feet from my window because he was under a car working on it. And it slipped. It was on just the dirt, and they had some janky whatever underneath it, and shit slipped, landed on his chest. His jack stands, thank you. His brother was inside doing something crazy. 3D Styles. That's it, guys. There's really nothing for sale. It's all about Battle Pass right now. And I just read that apparently there's 2 extra Battle Pass things going on this time. Yeah, it was years ago, Wayne. definitely. It was bad. It was bad. But this is probably 10 years ago now. Not that that necessarily makes it better. It makes the pain duller, I guess, and further away. But yeah, absolutely, it was bad. It was bad. So nothing else really going on here. It's all about Battle Pass. Like I said, word is that there's 2 extras coming up. I don't really know how that's going to work and whether there's tanks available for it or they're just, I don't know. It's very strange, actually, the whole idea of it. 2. I guess if selling 1 box is good and selling 3 boxes inside of each other, so to speak, are better, then 1 extra Battle Pass is good, but 2 extra is better. Is that how it works? I think that, and then why not 7 or 10 or 20 or year-round Battle Pass or daily Battle Pass? You have to grind it all in one day. I don't know. We come over here to missions. Let's see what we got going on. Nothing really. The math is mathing, Cliffy. The math is absolutely mathing. Nothing going on, fellas. This is reinforcements from Battle Pass. There's nothing in here. I've got some times 5s. What do I have, fellas? How many of these do I have? 184. How did I get so many? I think that was from the nesting boxes, right? I have 184 times 5s. Good golly. Only vehicles that received times 2 can fight. Yeah, you've got to do your standard times 2, and then you can do the times 5s. You have over 500. I'll tell you what, those things will crank your grind up, will turbocharge your grind. I mean, you can blaze through, especially lower tiers. Anything from 1, obviously 1's easy, but honestly, up to 7 or even 8. You're gonna, with times 5s, you just blaze through. Because now you start talking about putting a personal reserve on. You got the times 5. You know, you've got your bonus times that you can put on it too. If you have a really good battle in the win, you could then turbo it with that. 1,877 times 5s. Doesn't that seem like a problem from wargaming standpoint? I would like that too, Grendel. I would like that too. I actually kind of enjoy the grind. I wish it wasn't... I know if you just started, you want to get into it and get more tanks and unlock stuff and not have to play 100 times in a tank. I get that. But there's also that's kind of how the game's designed, and it's kind of fun that you get that sense of accomplishment as you unlock stuff. So there's a lot of wiggle room, I think, in the middle of all that. With the amount of stuff, at least I have, on a more mature as in older, with lots of resources account, I just blaze through these things every time. 2,864. Now, I guess you will definitely collect them, say, if you're a person who only plays a tank a couple times a day, right? Especially, say you lose the game, and then you play it once more and you do your times 2. If you don't touch it again that day, well, you're not going to dig into the times 5s. I don't seem to understand the concept of how to use it. So, Wayne, first of all, you have to clear your times 2, which only happens on a win, right? I think do the daily times 2s only happen on a win? Help me out here. I think it does. This is not going to tell me here. First victory. There it is. It actually says it on the card. First victory. So you have to win, number 1. Then the times 5 only works on a win. So if you play the same tank twice in a day and they're both wins, then you're going to clear your times 2 and you're going to get your times 5. So you play 4 games and you lose 3 and you win 1. Well, you've only ever done your times 2 even though you've played 4 games. See how that works? So sometimes if you're having a bad day with that tank, it might take a while before you can get to where you can get the times 5. See, Wayne, there you go. Exactly. If you're only playing 2 or 3 with different tanks, then you almost never dig into the times 5s. and that's why you're collecting so many. That being said, now that you know, if you look at a line, I don't know where you are, Wayne, if you've unlocked everything or what's going on, but if you look at a line and go, man, I really want to do that line, then play that tank and play it a bunch in a row. And on the second and so on wins, it's going to give you a ×5. And you're going to, I mean, you will finish that grind way faster than you can imagine. I think, doesn't the, what do they call it? The one that you can select, the dynamic one, whatever it is at the end of the game where you got 5 of those a day. I think if you get courageous resistance, I think you can use it on courageous resistance, right? Is that true? Even if you lose and you get that thing, you cannot? Oh, I thought you could. I thought it would let you use it on courageous resistance or whatever that's called. That would be cool. I think so, Wayne. Yeah, there's a lot of people still grinding. I mean, we've been playing for a long time, but there's still people who started relatively recent. Right. It gives you the experience. So that's how you can get ace tankers, even though it shows a relatively low experience. You have to look at what it is with your 1.5, and then if you trip the various ace tanker or class 1, class 2, it'll give you that for it even on a loss, which is cool. I think people grind. Anybody who's grinding? Anybody still grinding out there? Probably nobody here. Maybe a few. But if a new line comes out, obviously I end up grinding. Grind the modules, never new tank. Usually have the tanks unlocked about 2 weeks. Yeah, because a lot of time, well, if you're like me, like most of you probably are, and you've unlocked basically everything, when the new line comes out, every time you get blueprints and you have everything unlocked, you're not going to get national blueprints. I don't think it even gives them to you, or specific national blueprints. But once there's a new line and there's openings, then those are going to always be for that line, and it just add that to the turbocharge, and you finish up so fast. There you go, Grendel, exactly. They're always for the tanks that just got unlocked, because you don't have any other tanks for them to be from. The other thing that ×5s are good for, fellas, obviously, is the field mods. If you have tanks that you want to crank out the field mods, ×5s will turbocharge that big time, and you can crank through field mod. Yeah, there you go. Look, Grendel said field modification. You can crank through field modifications, even for tier 10s. If you're doing ×5, you can crank through even tier 10 field mods fast. 19 games. You don't like that one, huh? I've seen a lot of that one. Did it recently get sold? Was it part of the nesting box situation? So I've seen a lot of those recently. Utter pilot. What is it? Is that it's Russian, right? Is that true? Russian tier 8. Yeah. Is it a hydraulic dude? See, it's got a siege and travel mode. Yeah. Well, what's wrong with it? Oh, good lord, it's not accurate. That's what's wrong with it. So it's not Swedish accuracy. It hits hard, though. So it's a supposed stealthy sniper kind of thing with no real sniper gun. Is that what I'm getting? Oh, it gets more accurate in siege mode. I got you. Why doesn't it show both? That's irritating. Oh, this thing? Yeah. You can take all the hit points can be taken away by shooting this one gun on top of it. Nice. Oh, it's slow. So it's not speedy like the Swedes, huh? 37. Yeah, that's not very fast. Oh, sorry, that's bad. That's me being dumb. It's 50. That's not slow. 50. That cruises along. 20 backwards, unless it's in siege mode. Does this say? It doesn't show the siege mode stuff. Will this show it? What do we got here? Well, that's useless. How come it doesn't have... That's dumb. I thought that the siege mode tanks, they showed both numbers on here somehow, but I'm not seeing that. Can I switch it to siege mode here? Of course not. Good job, Wargaming. That's a very useful comparison tool, so I don't have any idea what its siege mode numbers are. Good. That's very useful. What the heck, man? It's not even it's not even here. How do I know? What? Oh man. Oh, here we go. Siege mode switching. They'll tell you how long it will take. Yeah, there's no way to know. There's no... Sure. Sure. That makes sense. Why not? This whole discussion was started by Times-5s. I also have some Times-5s for specific tanks, like the M4190, which you're never going to use, the TS5, the Sturv, bizarrely, the T1E6. These have... I have 26 for the... Why do I have 26 Times-5s for a T1E6? Anyone remember how that happened? 25 Times-5s for a T1E6. I guess if I need to crank out some free experience, that's the way to do her. Although experience at that tier is relatively low. The T1E6 is a tier 2 reward tank. Might have been a Christmas tank or some such. It's a US tier 2. There he is. There she is right there. T1E6. Look at that bad boy. And I, for some reason, have a full gold loadout on it. Sure. I bet I have games in it. Yeah, I have a 55% win rate. I have played... Why do I have 102 battles in a T1E6? You know what? Wasn't that a tank of choice in one of the competitive? Remember the ones that were you had X amount of tier points, and people would take, I don't know what, 5 8s and a 2 or something. I'm pretty sure that's what that's from. Trying to remember, like it wasn't necessarily a 7v7. You remember that format? It was a competitive format when I was still doing a little bit of the competitive stuff. 42 points, yeah. And it ended up being 6 tier 8s, right? And a tier 2. Or maybe it was, I don't remember. I don't remember what the meta became, but the meta was X amount of higher tiers, and then there was also one where it was a tier 1. Because people would take the MS1 or something like whatever the highest view range one was. And then they would set it up. Because back then, I think you could put all 3 pieces of equipment on it. And they would set it up for vision. It'd be just basically a canary in a coal mine tank. You would put it somewhere, depending on the map, you'd put it somewhere to spot, essentially, to get early info that somebody might be coming from that direction. Was kind of relatively the way they were used. So there would be people who were the specialists, and I think the T1E6 was somehow involved in something like that. That has to be my highest number of battles in a tier 2, maybe. I want this by tier, not by country. There we go. Nope, Panzer II, 109. But those are my two by far, tier 2s. Oh, see, the L Tractor is 109, so I think that was the other one that people, or the T1, sorry, not the L Tractor. I think the T1 has the highest view range, I believe, at tier 1 or something like that. 109 the Panzer II. This is that's not the Minnie Mouse, is it? I don't know. Well, those are brain cells from a long time ago. First 2 months, you just knocked out some M2 battles. Mine was tier 3, actually. When I first started playing, it was, I want to say, the T127 that I played the living snot out of. There's a lot of premiums at tier 3. But the T127, I think. 742 guide from Fulcrum Gaming. That's awesome. Yeah, I have 196 battles in my T127. I played the snot out of that, and it made okay credits at the time for a tier 3. And that's going to be close to my most battles. There's 183 in the Panzer S35. Same reason. The S35 I think is another premium, and the same reason I played the snot out of that, trying to learn the game back in the day. So yeah, between those two, almost 200 in those two. 3E was also pretty good. I remember that one. Nothing else is more than about 30 or 40. That's wild. What's my most played tier 4? 31, 29. The Birch Gun. Why did I play the Birch Gun 29 times? I have no idea. T28. The T28, I did use that to grind some credits. Got 62 in that thing. Hetzer 175. Hetzer's gonna Hetz, dudes. I was a bit of a connoisseur of the Hetzer, was I not? 175 battles, 61%. 3J 59. And nothing else too much, but looks like I liked the Hetzer back in the day. I liked the PZ 3E. There you go. The Hetzer. Off work for 2 months and couldn't walk after falling. Really didn't plan on playing after. Yeah. It does slap. That's when you got hooked, Grendel. That's when the bug infected you and you were unable to get rid of it. Well, that's memory. That's down memory lane. All these old tier 3s, man. Look at all these things. The Saharino. That's a relatively recent one. I don't even have any battles in that. Lago M38. I don't even remember that one. That's a premium of some kind. Panzerwagen 39. Look at that little thing. The old, remember the FCM 36 Pack 40? What a terror that thing was. What else? T29, BTSV. That was a very desirable tank for a while because it had some amazing armor for the time and the angles. Su-76I, T-127, good little tier 3. LTP, very similar to a 127, as is the 116. BT-7 Art, it's got the little derp on it. S-35, Gross Tractor, oh my gosh, T-15, M-15, Toldy, whatever this is, V4/40, Strausser, I don't even remember this thing. This is probably in Christmas boxes or something. Converted, T3, T3E2, MTLS, Locust. These are pretty funny, actually. And the Stuart. I've actually played this a bit, the Locust, I think. No, only 10 times. Yeah, the LTP was definitely a gift tank for a long time. Equalizer made you look at low tiers tanks again. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't touched most of those tanks in a long time. I guess I did a few with the least played situation going on. I did that for sure. And that's it, I think, for sales and missions, guys. As of right now, we do not have, and I don't see any advertisements from Wargaming anyway, about the extra Battle Pass chapters. Right now, it's still the 3. I am done with 1 and moved on to my second one. So I'm ahead of the game. I will fall behind though because I'll be on vacation, guys, from July 7th to the 27th. There'll be no coffee talk. I do plan on coming back afterwards and we'll do coffee talk. I might not have any videos those weeks. I'm still deciding what I'm going to do. I have a pretty good head of steam on videos anyway, so we might have some. I don't know. I may take a break. I may take a break from making the videos, but we'll see. I'm on the fence, much like the CC's waffling. That being said, we're going to take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and we're going to cover the subjects du jour, which is going to be the drama. So get ready for it. Make sure you got a nice full cup of coffee, and we'll have a little discussion about the current state of the CC thing. I guess we hadn't had enough drama recently. We had to have some crap show up. Give me 5 minutes and we'll be right back.
Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Now in the shadows came a mysterious chap who spoke in a tongue with strange dialect. He offered his help to the mighty Guido, to bring some laughter to his love of speedos. To the coffee talk they both came, to bring the message of winning ways to all and sundry and the masses. Yes, that's right, lads and lasses. The damage counts and flexing back keep you on the right track. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. So in what, if you want to progress, then seek out Guido nonetheless. With his sidekick Pilgrim, he has a message that to win you must be aggressive. The position and place that you must seek, for the winners only, not the weak. The guru speaks, so listen well. His voice rings out like the Liberty Bell, to bring you all to Unicom land, or to die hard trying in the sand. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. To the swamplands came the mountain man, to teach his wisdom and pay his due. A man with a name only known to a few. To his followers his words are true. Guido is the man, big and gruff. He used to fly jets, but now he does the tanking stuff. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. The mountains are home where he watches the moose and hummingbirds aplenty. But he saw the need for the Wat community to have a guru and lead them gently. Down the road to Unicom land will die, trying hard in the sand. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. So he broadcast his message far and wide, using YouTube, Twitch, and various means, to lead you to the promised land of WR. Win 8 and damage counts. That a mortal man is only stuff of dreams. Win your flank and then go back, was his mantra for the pack, to which they shouted, "Yes, boss man, that we will. Win our flank and then flex back." Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Guido. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Now in the shadows.
Okay, we are back. We are back. Let's see. Catch up with chat here. Instead of NA server least played, go with Guido's least played by 2. Oh, that's not bad. Problem is there's going to be a bunch of zeros. That's the only issue with that. Because there's a lot of like reward tanks and stuff that I just never played. But I could go with, least played by numbers, but you might find a lot of ones as well, unfortunately. Not a bad idea. Something like that though might be a good idea. Most played? Guido's most played? That might be interesting. Let's see. Lowest win rate? Ah, yeah, okay. Yeah, not bad. Second cup of coffee. Yeah, I'm on my... Well, this is actually 2 and 1, so I'm still... You got the bonfire together for the torches? We've been measuring pitchforks by height, so we'll be handing those out here in a minute. Short people first. I think the... well, first I'll touch quickly on the bunker busting thing. Obviously, all that shit went down last night, and I will leave it at how do I want to put this? I'm certainly not gonna jump around like a monkey, like doing shit like that's great for the world. It can be required. I certainly hope we don't put men and women in that place, because it won't go any better and maybe worse than the other 3 places we attempted in the recent past. The reality is you sometimes have to do shit, but hopefully it gets tamped down quickly. So I'll just leave it at that, because we don't do politics here. We're just talking about tanks, but obviously that's a big deal. I know, Cliffy. Anyway, but let's go on to the pixel drama. Let's have pixel drama. Yeah, let's just leave it out of there, Grundle. I don't want to start any. I know that there's probably people in here from both bents, so we're gonna let it go. But let's talk about pixel drama, because I think the reactions, I think the reactions are funnier than the actual drama. It's just sad Ayukson. So let's recap. What happened? Let's see. Triple boxes, nesting boxes, I think is one of you guys put it a couple weeks back. Happened. Actually, let's back it all the way up, because there was something that happened that I was not necessarily aware of, and that was the meeting in February. February. That's a weird word. February. Back in the second month of the year of 2025. Apparently there was a meeting. I might have heard about it. I don't remember. I don't think I did. But anyway, they brought a bunch of the CCs in, and they had a meeting. I find those funny. They've happened periodically. Other games do them. They bring in big content creators and they have a little kumbaya. Invariably, the content creators and their fan bases believe that the content creators are going to have some kind of major impact in these discussions. They don't. Sometimes there's some collab or a few things that are listened to, but in general, it is a PR stunt, which is fine. It's how you do. They get in there, they glad hand, they talk. Face-to-face stuff is important. It's good to meet the teams, to meet the PR teams or the community teams. That is really good for programs like that. But the idea that these CCs are going to have some kind of major impact on the way a game is progressing or developing is naive, I think. I'm not saying there's no impact in that, or that on certain instances or certain parts of the discussions there's not decent to significant impact, but overall it's a PR stunt for both sides. It's a PR stunt for wargaming, and I'm using stunt like it's necessarily like it may be negative. It's not a pejorative in this case. It's a PR event. Let's put it that way. So as opposed to use stunt, which kind of has a negative connotation, it's a PR event for both sides. The CCs get a little bit of, gas power, firepower out of it, a little bit of gas, a little turbocharge, and the company gets some goodwill, and as it should be. That's fine. That's how you work. If you are running a big company and you have a bunch of vendors, you're going to bring them in, you're going to listen to their stuff, you're going to glad hand, you're going to meet the teams, you're going to meet them, you're going to build those relationships, which should strengthen, but you're not necessarily going to listen to your vendors on exactly how you're going to build your product. You're going to listen to the larger world on how your product is being built. You'll take the input from vendors or CCs, however you want to look at it, but you're not going to completely change gears. So, that being said, 3 boxes, nesting box things were going to happen. Period. End of story. So apparently the CCs were very against it and whatever. And that's fine. Do your give your opinion. Let them know. Tell them what you think's going to happen. And once again, invariably, what the CCs think is going to happen and what the hardcore CC fan bases think is going to happen with these things is rarely what happens. Because what happened is they sold a shit ton of boxes. That's what happened. in February. So I don't know. listening to a couple of some of the videos from, well, I don't have one from Quickie. What I have are some snippets because he covered it a bit during a stream. So to be fair to him, it was reacting to questions and pontificating a little bit. It was not a put together thought process in a video. I don't know if he has one of those out yet or not. I would imagine in the next day or two there will be if he hasn't already done it. So all I know from Quickie are the few snippets I've heard of him talking about. Skill apparently has 2 videos. Ayusin has his. I think he might even have a follow-up. I don't remember. And I don't know if any of the other CCs have piled on yet, which is kind of part of the problem. So we'll go back to February. So that happened, and I don't know if maybe these guys came away from this thinking maybe they had an impact, but the fact is that the 3-lock box action happened. And that is another factor, Gator, because all of this equals clicks. It's the old, it doesn't matter how you're known, just as long as you're known. I mean, there's a point at which what you've done is so bad that there's a negative PR value, but that takes a while. And in the case of Pixel Tank drama, it's hard to have too much, you'd have to really go off the rails to get so much negative that it actually hurt you very much. Yeah, Quickie Baby was getting a little heated because people were on his case. So, we'll talk about that. All right, so that happened in February. The boxes happened. Now, when the boxes started to come out, I guess Ayuxin, I sort of knew this. He was one of, if not the first, to put a negative video out. I don't know if there was another smaller CC like me around that did it or beat him by minutes or a day or whatever. I don't know. But essentially, he is seen as, rightly or not, I think rightly, as the instigator of the negative wave man. What's with the negative waves against wargaming? Now, what he said in his video, which he showed, he did say, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have the exact quote, but it was essentially calling for a boycott. He essentially called for a boycott. Now, he said that pretty much directly. Of course, after that happens, we got the bandwagon going on. And I discussed this in my video, or maybe it was on, I guess it was a coffee talk we talked about. I don't know, did I do a video? I don't remember, actually. I don't remember if I did a video on this one or not, but it was definitely in a coffee talk, and that's out there as a video for the Sunday coffee talk stuff. And we talked about the whole bandwagon thing, people piling on. And what it turned into for most of the CCs, from what I gathered and saw, is they declined to do reviews of the tanks. Interestingly, several of them during the event, meaning that once it was over, they did it. In the case of, in Quickie Baby's case, he didn't do a review, he did a video on how to fight them. Which, that's why I say the drama around the drama is the most fun. Because I didn't love that in that I loved that he did it. I loved it in that was how his team did that. That was classic fence sitting right there. Absolutely classic fence sitting. So all a good number of the big CCs, and I don't know if any CCs really came out in support of the boxes. Do you guys know of any that took more or less my stance of whatever, buy them if you like them, and oh, by the way, I got one of the best deals I've ever got out of boxes on these boxes, and I covered why. It's somewhat special circumstances in my case because of a big account, but still, I did really well. They were as good as any boxes that ever existed, and I think even for the average player, they were as good as any boxes that ever existed, other than Christmas, granted. But that's been the case for a long time now. We've known that Christmas boxes are better than all the other box events. These may be as close to the best of the other box events as ever happened. That's just facts, man. I don't know. I don't know. All right, so where were we? February, boxes, don't do it. Boxes come out. Ayuxin called for a boycott. He did. and then other CCs kind of rode the fence in various ways. Not going to do videos. I don't like the boxes there. In my opinion, in Guido's whatever it's worth opinion, which is not much, the majority of them came out essentially, while they did not specifically call for a boycott, supported the idea of not buying the boxes, which is a boycott. Right? Now, what's happening now is, though, we're really parsing words. Now, there has to be a limit, right? If something's a crime, there's a thing at which you do that thing, then it's a crime. And I know we get subjective, unfortunately, in a lot of cases. So there has to be a line for wargaming where their CC can go up to and cannot pass in order to continue to have the relationship with their CCs, right? So you can do obvious stuff like if I'm a CC and every video I make is absolutely dragging wargaming and calling them idiots and telling them their devs are dumb and things like that. That's clearly against the TUS, the term, or the, it's not the terms of service, the agreement, whatever you signed, non-disclosure / agreement. They don't want to have CCs and give people free content when they're dragging the company every single time. So that makes sense. I think a lot of people can agree with that part. On the other hand, you have to let your CCs, you don't have to, but you should let your CCs, and that's how it's advertised, let your CCs have their own opinions. Somewhere in there is the line. Somewhere in there is the line. And Wargaming drew this line with Ayuxin because of the direct call for a boycott. Now there's some other amplifying parts to it. Official explanation shared, later made public, cites violations, principles, specifically participation, condoning, or bullying. Correct. So these are the other parts, Sergeant Major. These are the other parts. There's two major ones. There's three. One's kind of connected. The first one, which is cracking me up, it's cracking my balls. Is, and it was brought up by the other CCs. Both Skill and Quickie brought this up, and it kind of made me laugh because they bring up his past transgressions as if somehow that's involved. And to some extent it is, but it also isn't. It is fascinating to watch other people bring it up as they run for cover, in my opinion, as they run for cover. A little bit of cover. And that is the fact that he did a bunch. I don't know how much he did, but he got caught essentially rigging battles for marks or tanks or whatever it was. He was getting paid. Young kid, didn't have a lot of money, was good at the game, got caught up in rigging and getting paid for it, and got caught. Banned, I think, and all kinds of shit. So they knew who he was. So that kind of burnt the bridge of him ever really becoming a CC, or so he thought. So he went on best behavior, and good on him. Maybe he's, no kidding. He's made multiple videos about it, talked about how he doesn't do that anymore, all that good stuff. And I believe in second chances, so good on him. I was a little bit surprised when Wargaming made him a CC, but I'm like, great, whatever. So he was supposedly, and this is coming from other CCs, I have no idea how true it is, on kind of a probationary period, right? We'll make you a CC, you got to play within the rules and don't do anything bad, and we'll keep you as a CC. Well, you're in that position, and the first big controversy shows up, and you go make a call for a direct action on a boycott, maybe not your best move. Maybe not your best move. So there's that piece. Bringing it up as another CC as somehow part of why he should get it and you should not, that's some questionable ground to plant the flag on. You know what I'm saying? All right, number two, and someone's brought it up already, but the whole Chinese equation. I find this also to be a fascinating part of this. Because apparently, and Wargaming claims it was his authorized, what do they call it? Authorized, not connection, but agent or something like that. Basically, they believe that he authorized this stuff to be posted by his Chinese connection. I don't know. It's a friend. It's a guy he pays. It's part of his team. It's nobody he knows. Who the hell knows? It got posted over on the Chinese and Asian server. The call for a boycott translated into the Chinese. And you absolutely know that on the Chinese side, there's no room for that. Like, you're trying to take money from a Chinese company on the way stuff is run over there. They are not gonna play. That is not something they're gonna take kindly to. I'm not supporting that in any way. It's a bit of a shit show over there as far as I'm concerned. But once that happened, you start messing with the Chinese companies' money, that feedback loop is going to come blasting back to wargaming very quickly. So I find that to be one of the more interesting things, that apparently that's a decent part of this drama, that the feedback from the Chinese side was enough that it became noted and used by wargaming in their explanation. That's pretty crazy. Now, money is obviously flowing from China back to wargaming proper. There must be some kind of licensing agreement, and I guess there's probably profit sharing going on. So when the Chinese company gets gouged by some EUCC enough that they notice, and then the feedback comes to wargaming, that's fantastic. Not fantastic as in I want that to happen to people, but that's some fantastic drama right there. I don't think the Asian server is big, but the Chinese one is massive. And they love the boxes. See, this is another thing that we do in the West a lot. And we had that dynamic with the Russian server for, until Lesta got split off. The Russian server and the Chinese servers, the Russian and China, Lesta and they don't give a shit about 3 nesting boxes and gambling mechanics. They give no craps. In fact, they love it. There's none of this namby-pamby, oh my god, it's gambling. I didn't get the tank I wanted because there's a chance for it, and by god, I deserve this tank bullshit. They're like, oh yeah, give us more boxes. We love it. And the cheating. They also don't give two shits about the cheating and the rigging either. I mean, it's rampant on those servers. So if you start jacking with their bottom line, they're coming for you. Yes, SEA and China are separate. Yep. Yeah, I think the Southeast Asia thing was just chucked in there. The Asian server is not very big. I don't think so. I don't think it may be NA size. Do you guys know? I don't think if it is, it's certainly not EU size, but I think it's more or less NA size or smaller. So that was number 2. Number 3 was number 3 was the standard Reddit mob BS and Discord with your cave troll moron neckbeard types sitting on the internet all day, like we do. Look, I'm self-aware. A little bit, kind of. But it's the over-the-top threats and the just basic nasty stupidity from children, from man children, 12-year-old, 40-year-olds, that kind of crap. The fan base is going off, the jumping into the wargaming streams and flapping your lips about, oh my gosh, it's gambling. What about the children? All that bullshit was enough and nasty enough that wargaming felt like they had to do something. So you got the monetary piece, fueled a little bit by the Chinese server thing, which I found very interesting because we've never really heard that before. The nastiness of the Reddit sphere and all the ridiculousness on the Discord. By the way, the Wargaming Discord server is, I don't know how they from what I can tell, they don't really seem to try to control it. If any given day you go on there, you can find all kinds of racist and crazy stupidity on that. And because of the way Discord works, you would have to have 4 mods sitting there 24/7 nuking stuff. Stuff gets through. It's stupid how bad that I don't even. even consider going there. The general chat is chaotic BS, and a terms of service, you know, thing, I guess, but can't think of the damn word, violation, happens every like 5 seconds. Well, and some of the mods, exactly. I mean, it's all right. So you got that. You got the nastiness, apparently threats. I don't know anything about those. Who knows whether that's true or not. I actually tend to believe it based on what I've seen. I would not be surprised. So threats, nastiness, the Chinese situation, and then on top of it, the fact that Ayuksen was kind of on a probationary period anyway. And there we have it. So he gets booted. But then we get to the other part of the fascinating bit for me, and it's the run for cover from the other CCs and the parsing of words and the whole, well, you know, he called for a boycott and I didn't. And I'm like, I see what you're saying. Words have meaning. I understand that you were close to the line and maybe didn't get over the line with him, but I think what you meant was clear to anyone with any kind of honesty or common sense. You know what I mean? You were certainly happy to jump on the bandwagon and get a little goodwill going on from the mob, right? You flowed with the mob. You don't want to go against the mob, man. The Reddit mob will come get you. You make a living off of doing this. You know, it is a bottom line thing. I get it. I do. I did stuff. I kept some opinions to myself on occasion so that I wouldn't get kicked from the program, so that I could continue to make content, all that good stuff, and continue to get the stuff. Hey, you do you, make your decisions. But a little honesty would go a long way. And there is that, Greasy Fingers. It's a good point. It is a good point. I mean, obviously, kicking Quickie Baby out would be a problem for them. That would be a much more negative for them, I would say. So maybe there's a fourth piece that I didn't really cover there, and that's the whole shot up across the bow to everybody else. You know, Ayuksen's a fairly easy kill for them, so to speak. Maybe not a great word for it. An easy removal for them. They can make a example of him. He did call for a boycott, so they can feed or go with that actual words that came out of his mouth. So they have that bit. He was on a probationary thing. They did, in their note, leave open maybe in the future. There was a little bit there, so who knows? I mean, maybe in a year it dies down and he comes back. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe he gets put on a lower kind of CC program like I was on. I don't know what he was at the time, whether he was a full CC or what it was, but maybe he was a CA and I just, whatever. Anyway, he's out of the program. So there is that piece of it. Goose and BTED promoting a new tank game is suicide, in my opinion. I watched and the game sucked. Oh, no. Well, yeah, Cliffy. I was for a long time myself. I actually finally got nuked from it, so I'm not in the directory anymore. I was surprised how long I was actually in it. Zero diplomacy. Well, you know, I covered it. I was very direct and open about it when I first started, and I even talked about finances and all the stuff most CCs don't want to talk about. Mostly because mine were so small, it was inconsequential. And it's not like I was telling you I was making, $80,000 a year doing CC stuff and still asking for you to donate to me. So that's a whole nother subject. Yeah. Quickie said don't buy. Ayuksen said boycott. I agree, Patriot. And that's kind of what I was talking about. It is semantics. Now, I do understand you. So that was one of the things I talked about at the beginning. There is a line, right? There is a line. Now, the line can be movable, I guess. It always is. It's always a little bit subjective, right? If I write an agreement or terms of service or whatever you want to call it, and I say you can't do X, Y, and Z, You have to define those things, and when that event happens, then you have to look at all that and decide whether that's been violated or not. In this case, Wargaming decided it had been violated, and he did call for a boycott. He said, together we can have action together, get the mob. I'm like, all right, well, I don't think that's what you should have done. That, or if you honestly felt like that's what you thought needed to happen, then the repercussions from that you have to be willing to take. You can go break the law. If you want to do a civil disobedience and break a law and get arrested, then you have to understand that the arrest piece is going to happen, right? So the possibility he was going to get kicked out for calling for a boycott of a box situation, which goes all the way back around for me to the fact that the boxes were as good a deal as any other boxes that ever came out. I will say the one thing that I will take a torch to that I think is complete BS, and I know there's people who kind of disagree or very much disagree in here, and that's fine, we can disagree, but it's not gambling, folks. Not in terms of the definition of I take a gamble and I either win or win nothing. If we want to change the definition, in my opinion, of gambling to I buy something and then have a chance for something else, that's a gamble. Okay, I see where you're coming from, but you're also not losing everything. So if you don't think the box, take away the chance of the tank. Take away the chance of the tank. If you don't think the boxes are worth it, don't buy them. It's not gambling. Especially with the pity mechanic. Now, they might put boxes out in numbers that are kind of BS because the pity mechanic, you have to buy 2 sets or 1 set that's too much. I got that. That's garbage, but whatever. That's their marketing. If you bought enough to get a pity mechanic, you got your money's worth. You maybe didn't get a good deal, depending on how you roll. Maybe you got a great deal, depending on how you roll. But you got the worth. Whether that's worth it to you is irrelevant because that's their pricing. What's relevant is whether you want to buy them or not. But if you go into it buying them, thinking for some reason you deserve or are owed the tanks, I don't know what to tell you. Because you're not. That's all. That's my opinion on it, man. It can be a crappy marketing strategy. It can be kind of BS with the way the numbers of boxes they sell. All that is valid criticism. But if somehow you're painting yourself or the children or somebody else, even worse than that, painting somebody else as a victim, you're here to save somebody else, get fucked. Honestly, just get out. My opinion, probably worthless. Guido's wife, we need to remodel. Right? Yeah, I haven't asked you guys for donations for a while, so I'm going to need some. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But this is like life. Company people got laid off because they were not as popular or as needed as others, even if they had the same job. Yeah. And it's not always fair. Like, I'm not sitting here telling you that a Euxin getting kicked out was fair, especially when you consider what he said was essentially what all the others said. And they are absolutely making an example of him. Are they really trying? Is the evil corporation attempting to silence the CCs? I don't think so. I don't think that's necessarily. I think they're saying, look, there is a line. If you're going to try to organize a boycott or get the mob so riled up that they start coming after our community managers, as crappy or as good as they may be, I don't really deal with them anymore. That's against the terms of service. You can't get the internet neckbeard trolls, the 12-year-olds in a 40-year-old's body, so angry that they start, doxing and threatening people on the internet. You have to understand that you're dealing with a volatile situation as a CC. You really are. I don't want to put too fine a point on it. It's not like we're not saving lives here. But you can, if you want to make a bunch of videos frothing at the mouth, get a bunch of idiots mad enough that they can type some bullshit. That's just the way it is. So it's been fun drama. The reactions, I think, are the most fun for me. I guess that's kind of a crappy way to put it. I hope I'm not coming across as, yeah, I like to watch people get their feelings hurt. That's not necessarily where I'm coming from. I just find take the names away from it. Let's do that. Let's take the names away from it and the personal stuff of various names that are doing stuff. I just find the human reaction, the interaction of it, really fascinating. Right? Exactly, Cliffy. It is. And what did I see first? I saw Ayuxin's video first. So I saw that. I was on Reddit because I'm stupid. And I watch the World of Tanks Reddit stuff because it's germane to what I do. It's part of the channel and we talk about it and all that stuff. I saw his. I watched it. I'm like, oh shit, Ayuxin got kicked out. I wonder what happened. And once he started talking, I'm like, oh god, this has to do with the boxes. All right, interesting. And I don't think I watched his first video. And he brought the clips in, and he also put the message from Wargaming, so it's all out there. It's all very upfront. And you could see he was pretty upset. I think he was pretty excited. He finally fought through to become a CC. But at the same time, maybe not your best move to stay a CC. Yeah, so I saw that first. And then I knew it was on. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh. So I listen. So of course you go directly to the comments. They never disappoint. Especially if it's not directed at you. So of course I could see all the mob. It's already started. Pitchforks. We got torches. And then I saw Skills video pretty quickly after that. So I'm like, I wonder what Skills is going to say about this, because I watched Ayuxin's. And I'm thinking to myself, isn't this essentially what all the other CCs kind of supported in various ways? Not saying directly. Nobody was in lockstep necessarily. I think they were kind of in lockstep as these boxes are a bad idea and we don't support them necessarily. And people did put their money where their mouth is to a large extent, as in not doing reviews, and a lot of people didn't even open the boxes or didn't accept them, which is fine, man. That's great. That's the kind of stuff you do. Like, all right, no thanks, Wargaming. I've done that in the past in several things. I don't remember what the hell they were, but we did that a couple times where I said, I'm not doing this. I'm not reviewing these tanks for the reason X, Y, and Z, whatever stupid drama was going on at the time, and I got caught up in. I've done that, which is fine. You have to, as a CC, as a businessman, essentially, with this kind of crap. Make your decisions and then stick to them. But I watched Skills video and I went, "Wow, we're definitely on the slack line, on the tightrope here. We're trying to see if we can get through this." He's like, Skills like, I'm gonna try to. Okay, oh yeah, maybe I can sneak through this way. Maybe if I get a little smaller, I can go underneath. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Yes, bold move, Cotton. And then I watched Quickie Baby. The next ones I saw were Quickie Babies, and I haven't seen anybody else's stuff. But again, like I said, all I saw from Quickie Baby are the snippets where he was discussing. But the second or third one, he was starting to get a little snippy, as he does. When people are really coming at him during a stream. But I think he did himself he should have, and maybe he knows this now, and I don't know if maybe he got to that point during the stream, but his best bet was to say, hey fellas, I'm not sure what's going on with all this. I will address it later. We'll talk about it later. Let's just stream for now. And I'll put a video out, because he probably would have done himself better by having to think about it, because he was sort of just riffing as he went, and he said some things I don't think people dug too much. June 30th is International Asteroid Day. Watch for Watt boxes and all CC jump on board. Hey, I bought those I bought the nesting boxes. I absolutely slayed those things. I got exact money worth in gold, and then got 7 tanks for $10 a piece. Plus all the other crap, which personally a lot of that stuff I don't consider worth necessarily money. I mean, that's part of my calculus. You do get stuff, and I am sympathetic to the idea that times 5s and all this stuff, to me anyway, if it's in a box. I'd rather have gold or something like that. But if you bought 50 boxes, you got a tank. Period. End of story. Done. Unfiltered. Yeah, I think that's probably best for everybody. It's more entertaining, isn't it? It's less packaged, right? One thing about Quickie Baby I do appreciate is he has stopped with the insane amount of edits on his videos. He's willing to actually misspeak or say something wrong and fix it as he goes. There's still cuts, and I do this as well. Sometimes something happens, I just have to stop and restart. But there was a while there where it was, and I think it was a style. It was definitely a YouTube style at the time. It was very disjointed. I mean, it was all the same. Discussion, but it was just every 10-15 seconds there was like a cut and edit to the next thing. Like maybe he said something wrong or didn't say it the way he wanted to, or it was really irritating. But he has definitely learned to get better with the free flow discussion, even on his videos that are edited. Yeah, that's right. Maybe he was trying to be Shatner. I don't know. Adult children went hungry because I spent all my money on Gator. Gosh, man, we've talked about this. Remember when we were kids, remember the kids in Africa will go hungry if you don't eat your broccoli? The Green Labubu. I just saw that episode from Seinfeld, the Soup Nazi. George, what did he get? Did he not get his drink? He didn't get something. And the girl, the soup Nazi goes, "No soup for you." And I forgot this part. I thought it was the soup Nazi that grabbed the soup. It isn't. Remember, it's the girl, the cashier. She looks at him, grabs it, and pulls it back. Bread. I think it was bread, Clippy. Yeah. He didn't get. And I always remember it as the soup Nazi grabbed it, but it's actually the cashier looks at him with a mean mug and grabs it and pulls it back. So the soup Nazi goes, "No soup for you," and then the cashier executes order 66 right there. Or what is it? Was it 66? Whatever. I never pass that up. I never pass up on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Or I don't have Instagram anymore. What is it? Oh, X. On X or TikTok. I never pass up a Seinfeld clip because they're always funny. He's a horrible actor. That was part of the fun of that show. He was so bad at it. But he had there were a couple extras that were kind of permanent extras, but the three main ones, Elaine, George, and Kramer, were so good that it just worked. Them working around his terrible acting was just absolute comedy gold, man. What a great show. And I loved how it ended. It was such a perfect end. They were all such assholes, honestly. Oh, is that the guy that played Monk? I didn't put that together. Damn him, I did not put that together. Jimmy, I don't know, dude. What do you think? At the first couple times I saw it, I was like, oh man, this is crazy. But now it's everywhere, and I'm kind of over it. Like, I think it's 15 Minutes of Fame was 15 Minutes of Fame. It's just overdone. And man, I don't know if someone's making money off it, but they're cranking those things out. I need to find out how they're doing it. Which program is doing that? Anybody know which AI situation is making those? They are funny. On Wings, I remember Wings. Wings was good. Lowell was that? No, Lowell was a different character. But that same guy played Lowell, right? Blair Witch. I have not seen the Blair Witch one. Tony Shalhoub, right? That's his name. The Stormtrooper one is actually pretty funny at times. Soup Nazi was not Monk. Uh-oh. Now we have our own controversy. They look similar though, don't they? I bet there's a Disney dwarfs. I'm gonna tell you the ones that. Nah, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna leave it. There's another version of the AI which I cannot believe they're doing, but it is so out of pocket. You do laugh, but you're like, oh my god, it's like getting punched in the face. Jeez. No one talks about Cosmo anymore because of the rant he did. That was a long time ago. Dude, people don't remember rants people did 4 months ago these days. The whole cycle moves so fast. Yeah, you loved when he showed up every time. Because you just laughed. It was always funny. What's her name? Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She did a couple other sitcoms afterwards. There was one we actually, my wife and I liked quite a bit. The new Adventures of Old, whatever her name was, of Old. Can't remember what the character's name was. Yeah, I didn't watch much Veep, but she was pretty good in that. The New Adventures of Old Christine. We actually enjoyed that. I think that was probably the truest to her kind of acting style. That one. She's also in Thunderbolts, which I didn't realize she was in the MCU. I know she's been there for a while, and I'm sure I noted it at the time, but when I saw the previews for it, I'm like, oh, that's Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And then, of course, they did a callback or something during the movie. I'm like, oh, shit, she's been here for a while. I completely forgot about it. She's also in the one with Red Hulk. Brave New World, Captain America, Brave New World. She's in that one as well, I believe. I don't think a lot of the younger kids even know who Kramer is now. I know my kids do because they've seen some Seinfeld stuff, but I don't think they've watched Seinfeld necessarily. They've seen clips and they're aware of it, but it's not a show they've watched. Same thing, Dan. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. You're like, oh shit, she's in. I actually kind of forget that Harrison Ford is in it until I watched a whole movie where he was a major character. Because he's been in there for a while. Because he was the general, right? In the original Hulk? Not the original, but the one that brought what's his name into the MCU. Was he not the general the whole time? I loved Thunderbolts, Dan. I think it's worth watching. Well, they are, Grendel, but that's the whole purpose. They're supposed to be. I mean, it's magic people. What do you want? I liked Thunderbolts because it was a relatively small story. Although the Void, Sentry the Void is a pretty powerful character. The bad guy wasn't really a bad guy. It was a situation that they had to deal with. So it wasn't Galactus or what's his face with the snap, Thanos. It was a smaller story. And none of those guys are actually so overpowered that they can more or less handle just about anything. But the dialogue between them was actually pretty good. And they all have kind of crummy backstories. None of them are particularly good individuals necessarily. And so I thought the dialogue was good, and the Red Guardian is pretty funny. I thought it was good. She's the heir to the Drexel investment. Really? Dreyfus, okay. Yeah, it's superhero stories, right? I mean, you got to have some big bad, and a lot of things blow up, and chase scenes, and fights, and all that crap. Guardians of the Galaxy is quite good too. Yeah, the characters in that and the actors, like the interactions, are fun in Guardians of the Galaxy. I saw a collage of the interactions between Drax and what's her face, the Mantis. Those are some classics, man. Those are some classics. My favorite one is when they're standing there. I think it's the one where they're fighting Ego, and something comes flying out of the sky and just smashes Mantis, and she gets smashed, and Drax turns around and she's like, "Mantis, look out!" She's already destroyed. That one cracked me up. Marvel versus DC. I'll probably get scoffed for this. I enjoyed the DC movies too. I did. I actually like Jason Momoa or whatever as Aquaman. I thought some of those were pretty good, as long as it's a little more lighthearted. You know, the big battle scenes with underwater empires and all that. Whatever. But some of the interactions are good, and you know what? Watching Gal Gadot run around, that's fine. You didn't like Aquaman, yeah? I mean, I thought some of the Justice League stuff was fine. Oh, it was William Hurt, Cliffy. Okay, there you go. So it was originally William Hurt, but same character, right? The General, whatever his name was. Yeah, DC seems to have a smaller cadre of well-known characters. I guess it's kind of a smaller situation, really. Thunderbolt Ross, that's right, General Ross. Yep. What's that? He makes Seinfeld's acting seem like. Look, you're getting what you're getting, right? It's Jason Momoa. He's a big muscle guy. He kind of has the same character. It's a lot like The Rock. The Rock plays the same character in every single movie. As long as you're okay with that character being in that movie, then a lot of times it can be pretty good. I will say for The Rock, in The Rock's case, he actually has decent comedic timing, or at least they're able to leverage that and make it look like it in the movie. So I think he's actually kind of funny. Yeah, I agree, Grendel. Yeah, The Rock can be really funny, yeah. I think his comedic timing, he's got a knack for comedic timing. He really does, for a big guy like that. They got a new Deadpool? What? No way. Did they get rid of what's his name for that would surprise me, actually. Although I guess he did say that, right? He was going to do he was going to do the last one with Wolverine, and he was going to call it a day. I think that was there. The first Deadpool movie was a lot of fun. It was. I think it gets a little over the top with some of the themes and stuff. Not that I'm a prude or anything, but sometimes you're like, okay, do we really have to do that? But yes, I guess they did, because that was the idea, right? It was Deadpool was going to be the rated R MCU guy. And they definitely accomplished that. It was pretty funny, though, for sure, because it was very different. That at that time, that first Deadpool was completely different take on the whole idea of it all. Justin Baldoni. He'll always be Khal Drogo to Cliffy. He didn't last very long, did he? How many episodes was he in? 5 or so? He took a little nick, and that was it. Standard Game of Thrones. Die at any point. Nick Cage. Greatest actor of all time. One of the best scenes in movies that I will always remember is Nick Cage in... it was one of the Las Vegas ones. It wasn't Leaving Las Vegas, I don't think. But it's the one where he goes to the poker game, and he's got a straight flush king high or something like that. And, betting the frickin' farm, and then the guy bet because he didn't have any more money or something like that, and the guy's like, all right, well, put a date with your girlfriend here or something like that. Yeah, that might be it, Cliffy. Indecent Proposal. And then he loses, right? Because the other guy's got the ace high straight, whatever it was. The other guy had the one card above it that was going to do it. I think he had a straight flush ace high. Loses, obviously, and then has to go back and tell the girlfriend what happened. And she's obviously pissed. And she goes... And she says something, and he does that Nick Cage monologue. And he says, I had a straight flush king high. It's like unbeatable. And she goes, well, apparently it's beatable. And he does that, I know that now. That whole scene where he delivers that "I know that now" in that Nick Cage voice kills me every time. Like, that is a great scene. Great scene. Raising Arizona, classic. Well, you're gonna get the same guy. You know what I mean? Cage is another one of those actors where if you put Nick Cage in a movie, it's Nick Cage, right? Whatever his name is in the movie, it's Nicolas Cage. Like, I don't know. Can you think of a movie he's been in that he did something significantly different from the character he usually plays? I think maybe recently there's been a couple where he's an older character that maybe he's done a different kind of take. But during his heyday, it was always the same guy, essentially, just a different movie and a different character name. It is true, Kefik. Yep. But there's some that are so malleable. That's crazy how malleable they are. Like, what would be who's a character that there's a couple women that can do these kind of God, what's her name? She did the serial killer. She's actually quite pretty, but she did the serial killer role, and she's done a bunch of different. And every time, it's almost looks like a completely different person. Can't remember her name. She's one of those. Charlize, yes, her. Sometimes she's in a movie and you don't even know it's her. You're like, what on earth? Mila. Kate Blanchett is like that, yeah. Yep. I'm trying to think if there's any like males that do that kind of thing. Christian Bale. Also, what's his name? The guy who likes the young women so much. What's his name? Catch Me If You Can. What's that guy's name? DiCaprio. Dude, that guy. That guy's crazy. Like, whatever movies he's in, it's not Leonardo DiCaprio. He's that guy, right? For whatever reason, he is that guy in that movie. Whatever you think of him otherwise, like his methods for doing that are crazy. Man, I don't think so, Cliffy. I mean, he's very distinguishable as far as his face, but I think when he like gets into a character, it's like you're looking at that guy. Leo is a pig. He likes the young actresses and young ladies, I'll give you that. Costner's pretty good at that too. Yeah, I would agree with that. Revenant, yeah. Yeah. I like most Costner movies. I'm not a huge fan of him himself necessarily, but even Waterworld and stuff. I'll watch a Costner movie. They're good. Doesn't bother me at all. Well, fellas, that's it. Hopefully, we solved the drama. What do you? Before I go, what do you think's going to happen with the Watt drama? What's the end game? Nothing. Will it just fade away like most things? Yeah, I think Cliffy's right. I don't think anything else is going to happen necessarily. I do think some of the CCs are going to get drugged a bit. Probably, Skill's already getting drugged if you go to his videos. Usually there's not a lot of negativity in Skill's comment sections because he pretty much sticks to the game. You could tell he was uncomfortable doing this video. It's not his wheelhouse. He really wishes this whole thing. I think he really wishes this whole thing he didn't have to deal with. Maybe he'll have learned a lesson on this one to sort of distance himself from all these kind of calls to action BS. I don't know. We'll see. But I've always felt, in my opinion anyway, especially in the case of Skill, that he really stuck to the game. and didn't deal a whole lot with all the BS. I mean, he would naturally go, it's a bad tank, or I don't agree with the boxes and stuff. But as far as getting too deep, like up to the neck, he's avoided that for the most part. Well, that's, I didn't talk about that, Greasy. That was on my list of things. When you have kind of created your brand around one game, like a couple of these guys have, that's it. If the game goes under or gets less popular, yeah, Jimmy, exactly. It's pixels. Sell down. You're not saving lives here. But that's a factor for a CC who has built, who has gone full time, and that's how their living is made. That you're along for that ride, whatever direction it goes. Bull Durham was good, Cliffy, for sure. Yeah, so I think you'll probably see a few more reaction videos come out. Obviously, we just made one here as we talked about it. Quickie, what do you think? I think Quickie will make a video if it hasn't already come out. Has anybody seen one from him? I bet if he hasn't, probably going to be one. It would be interesting if he just ignored it. That would be one way to do it. I don't know if he'll be able to, because he's going to look for clicks. So I think he'll probably make some kind of reaction video. And that's the knock, right, Wayne? Everyone's saying, well, now you're compromised. You're not going to be able to say what you want. Well, that's not true. There was a limit. That guy got to the limit. That was Wargaming's limit. Like, oh, they sent a message. Like, yeah, yes, correct. That's why the terms of service are there. Oh, that's cool, little brute. That's a good memory right there. If you want to improve your light tank game, watch Ayuksen. No offense, Guido, but he has some tutorials that are... Oh, I'm with you, Gator. Yeah, he's a better player. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I can get you to, good to slightly above average. That's all I've ever advertised on this channel. If you want to, we'll talk about the game. I'll give you what I can do. If you want to play at that level, which I don't think everybody can, but if you want to try to figure it out or learn what that is, then Ayuksen, skill, to some extent, Quickie is good, as close to as good or as good as they are. Whatever you think of it, he's good. Dez is good. Yeah, there's definitely those super unicums. Those guys are the guys to look at for that kind of gameplay. I am too aggressive, generally, in everything. Kajzu is the only one that makes me scratch my head these days. What do you mean on that? Just the way he plays or something? Cajun Jackson and Amos and Andrew. I don't think I've seen that. Let's try that. All right, cool. Let's find somebody to raid, and then we can all get on with our son. What's going on here? Move, you dumb thing. All right. Get on with our Sundays. Sunday. Are you back, oh brute, this Monday? I think I'm gonna do some flying. Slick and I did some flying last Monday. That was good. Once he got his shizzle together, which took a little while.
1 second, please.
All right. Still doesn't have that cockpit up and running though, unfortunately. He thinks you should be able to fight 6? Oh, geez. Maybe at lower tiers on occasion you can do that. I will. I think we'll be here next weekend. We at least have one, maybe 2. Yeah, so yeah, we have 2 more weekends. I'll do next week and the 6th. We leave on the 7th, so we'll have 2 more coffee talks, and then I'll be on my break there. Because I need a break from all this game playing and stuff or something. Who we raiding? Who we got? There's some Chinese fellers going along here. Reset. Is that a person? Oh, that's my vacation. Reset. Yeah. I am gonna go straight to the. Well, first thing we're gonna land, then we're gonna get the rental, then I'm gonna go straight to the Utah liquor store because that's the only place to get decent beer. I'm gonna grab myself some nice crafts, and we're gonna go up to the cabin. I'm gonna go drag everything inside, go straight through, open up the sliding glass doors, step out onto the porch, grab a chair, and sit there. That's the plan. We got several friends coming out too. I think Slick's coming out there. Oh, Brute. Slick and the Frau are going to show up. There's lots of chipmunks. There's multiple versions actually. We got squirrels. We got proper chipmunks, and then we have like their rock chucks or something. It's like a half a chipmunk, half a squirrel. So there's 3 versions of critters like that. How about Total War 1963? We'll do that. Oh, back to work. They're gonna force you to fly. Gotta throw the rock at the Seagull and get you to launch. Yeah. Man, I still have gunk from being sick, man. Yeah, there are liquor stores in Utah. In fact, that's one of those great things about a place like Utah, where apparently, the church is all about no liquor and all that, but of course, the government owns the liquor stores. You might say, hey, it's not, church isn't the government, but then you have to understand it's Utah, so virtually all the politicians are Mormon. So you have a case of a state that's generally against liquor, but of course they run the stores and get the profit. Awesome. Oh, so you want to get in and get your landing before you have to go back? Yeah. Grendel, I've seen it actually. We were at a gas station, I think it was. We stopped for gas on the way up the hill, just outside of Park City, and this big SUV rolls up, and all these women get out in the, basically looking more or less like Mennonites, but essentially Mormons, serious ones, and a bunch of women, a bunch of kids. They all go in and get Cokes and all this stuff. No, not Cokes, obviously, but drinks and sodas. Nothing with caffeine, I would imagine. Oh, so you do have to go to the sim. Great. One day, yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to launch this raid, my friends. Oh, shoot, he might have just quit. Or maybe I waited too long. All right. Or maybe he doesn't have raids enabled. Let's find out. Could be weird. Huh. He's got raids turned off. That's weird. Good on him. Somebody else. Phi Dun. We've raided him before, and we'll go with Phi Dun. Could be a bug. I don't know. Let's see if it does it with somebody else. Nope, works now. You can turn raids off, so some people have them turned off. All right, I'm out of coffee. I'm out of words. I am out of controversy. You guys have a fantastic rest of your Sunday and a good week, and we will see you next Sunday, unless I can figure out a way somehow to stream. No promises. Later.